Hey everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel. In this week's video, we're going to be talking about a soft case lithium polymer battery pack versus a hard case battery pack. Now, it's quite obvious as to what these could mean and identify. However, we're going to go through that as well as get into the advantages and disadvantages of each. And then I'll show you a few different examples here, similar to last week where we had the three vehicles on the table here. And I'm going to go through why you would want to make a selection of one type versus another type. In the comment section below, let me know if you prefer to use soft case or hard case LiPo battery packs for your radio controlled cars. So let's get right into it and describe exactly what these types of batteries actually consist of. So when we're talking about a soft case lithium polymer battery pack, this is a battery pack that is essentially made up of the actual cells. Now, cells are commonly made up of a package where it contains the material, the chemical materials that make up an actual lithium polymer battery pack, and that is essentially wrapped in a tinfoil type construction. So as I'm putting it this way, you can imagine that the batteries themselves are not all that protective of the internals inside of that cell. It is very easy to puncture a soft case lithium polymer battery pack, and it is definitely easy to get some corner of it squished or smushed in if you do end up in a hard or aggressive crash. So those are a couple things that we'll see as the disadvantages of the soft case lithium polymer battery pack. The protection for one of these soft case lithium polymer battery packs is just a heat shrink material that is placed on the outside. So this is something that is quite thin and really does not have any resistance to impact or puncture. The only thing that it's going to do is contain the cells within that pack so they aren't able to come apart. Typical hard case lithium polymer battery packs are made up of a hard type of plastic, and they can be made in different forms where they snap together or they are glued together, and there's other ways that they can be done this way as well. Now, the title of this video specifically says for radio control cars, and the reason behind this is if you fly radio control airplanes, drones, helicopters, or you run radio controlled boats, you will more than likely want to select a soft case lithium polymer battery pack. And the reason for this is all the advantages and disadvantages that we're going to be talking about in this video for soft versus hard case LiPos is going to be based around the idea that you don't need specific advantages that come from a hard case lithium polymer battery pack for those applications. So now that we know that, let's jump right into the actual advantages and disadvantages that we have with each of the different case makeups. Let's first start off by soft case LiPo advantages. So the obvious ones that come to mind are weight savings. You don't have the weight of that extra case. You also don't have the physical space that that case is going to take up. So you not only save on weight, but you save on space as well. Or vice versa, where you can have a soft case lithium polymer battery pack in the same physical space as a hard case, but you're going to get more capacity and possibly a higher C rating out of the same physical size. You can either look at it as it's a physical size savings, or you can actually get more out of the battery pack. Those are the advantages there of a soft pack. A big reason to go down the path of soft case lithium polymer battery packs is because the market for them is generally larger. You can get not only like your 4,000, 5,000, 3,000, 2,200 size lithium polymer battery packs, but you can also find battery packs that are of a different physical size makeup. That is, the length, the width, and the height can come in different variations there, even if they are the same physical capacities or C ratings. And that plays a huge role when you're trying to place your packs inside a specific vehicle. Now we have a safety aspect type of advantage for a soft case lithium polymer battery pack, and that is very easy to inspect for physical damage on that pack. Now, physical damage can come from the actual chemistry inside the pack, or it can come from just damage that has been the pack absorbing a crash or something else that has been done to it, whether you drop it or anything of that nature. Now, obviously, if you're able to inspect the cell, you can see the cases. It doesn't take much to see that a cell is not as its original factory condition. A small little bit of swelling tells you and indicates and makes that suggestion that the pack is not in its best health, and it may become time to continue to monitor it and discontinue the use of that pack by disposing of it correctly. We got a video on that if you don't know how to go through that process. And lastly, we have our disadvantage here for the soft case lithium polymer battery pack. And that is, of course, because it is in a soft case, it is very easy to subject them to be physically damaged or physically harmed, whether it's through some sort of puncture or if it's through some physical trauma to the battery pack. Physical trauma could be as simple as either dropping it on a sharp edge or dropping it on a concrete floor from a certain height, and that pack can be physically damaged. Now that we've covered all of that for the soft case lithium polymer battery packs, we can talk about the actual hard case lithium polymer battery pack and the advantages, disadvantages associated with that style. The big advantage of a hard case lithium polymer battery pack is that it is going to be significantly protected versus a soft case lithium polymer battery pack for punctures or any type of blunt trauma to the actual pack itself. Now, this doesn't mean that it's going to protect against all kinds of damage. Obviously, if you exceed the maximum that that case can sustain, then you're going to damage the pack from all kinds of physical abuse. And this is going to be somewhat significant when you are bashing your radio controlled vehicle. A few disadvantages of a hard case lithium polymer battery pack is, as we know, it comes with a physical size that is generally and typically larger than a soft case lithium polymer battery pack. Now, one of the biggest things for me, it comes again from that safety aspect of the pack, is that a hard case LiPo is not going to give you the visibility as easily from a soft case battery pack to detect if there's damage with the individual cells. Now, it is known that a hard case, if those packs, if all the cells do puff up, it could crack the case, or you could see some sort of ballooning on the case itself. However, it has to get to a significant amount of expansion within those cells to actually blow apart the case or appear visibly like the cells are ballooning. So it is something to keep in mind that you can actually have cells within there that are ballooning, but you just don't know they are. So here's an example. This is a 1/7 scale on-road vehicle capable of well over 100 miles an hour. And you can see that you have this tall sort of wall here at the front side of the pack, and then along the sides you have a relatively small height wall, and at the back it's pretty much the same. So depending on how this pack is mounted in here, what I typically like to do is use all the straps to make sure it's very secure in the actual battery tray. And then if I know that it's secure, it can help me prevent damage, because what I don't want to have happen is the battery pack, being a soft case lithium polymer battery pack, I don't want it to go and significantly press into any of these walls. So securely mounting it using the Velcro is one of the biggest and most important things, in my opinion, as I see it, for the battery pack installation. If the car were to travel at 100 miles an hour, lift off the ground, and land at the rearward, impacting the battery pack towards the rear, what could happen is the cell that's on the bottom or exposed to this wall, if there's a significant impact where the pack wants to go and move in that direction, could be significant on the pack, because it's going to be a small surface area that's going to have a high pressure, which could then compress the pack in that direction. So this is the only thing that I do worry about as it's related to this type of battery installation. And making sure that the Velcro straps are nice and tight help to absorb some of that energy and keep the pack in where you have actually mounted it. If you have pressure on the top side and the bottom side, there's lots of surface area to distribute the total amount of force that you're using the Velcro straps to secure those battery packs in. And same idea if we look at the 1/8 scale buggy here. It's got the tall front end. This is plastic. I actually 3D printed it because the stock configuration was just too small, so I maximize what I have in terms of capability here by giving a couple bits of clearance where needed. However, same idea, if the car ended up hitting the back end, I don't want to go and have the pack smash into this side, so securing it nice and tight is typically what I would like to do here to help prevent damage damage and allow me to comfortably use soft packs with no issue. And then looking at our last example here, this is a 1/8 scale car on road that is quite old and hits about the 100 mph mark, and you could see this battery tray is actually completely flat. So there's no real risk of damage as long as these straps don't let loose. There's a strap here for the horizontal direction of the pack, and then you have a second strap here for the horizontal direction of the pack, and then you have your long strap that's going to go along the length of the pack, making sure that it really has no freedom to move. And as long as all these are tight, that pack should not be damaged physically from any type of aggressive or high impact load. And here's a fourth example that I want to show you, and that's because this here is a Traxxas Summit, and it has an actual battery case tray here on the sides. There's one on this side and there's one on the other side as well. Now the biggest thing about this guy is that there are no straps to actually make sure this pack is locked down. So if you have a front impact here, the battery pack can actually come up and smash against this foam pad here at the front, or if you have a rear impact here, it can actually smash against the rear side here. And this is not necessarily all that good. So what I would recommend in this type of application is you can run a hard case if you wish, but again, I don't believe it's necessary. Again, this vehicle does fly off of all kinds of ramps and it's been abused. You can tell by just the actual condition that this thing is actually in. It does see its fair bit of use. What you can do is put a soft case LiPo battery pack in here and just make sure that you have some foam that can actually trap it inside of this area, inside this compartment, and not give it the provision to be able to move around. This way, when you actually close the door and actually seal the deal here, that pack will not move and it's protected by the insulation type foam that you have installed. And there you can see the differences between the different installations there, where our highest risk is more than likely going to be the second example, which is the 1/8 scale off-road buggy here, where it's a plastic case using only 2 Velcro straps, none over the actual length of the battery pack. And if that battery does get shifted aggressively to the rear side or even the front side, you can experience some physical damage there. However, if you're just running on-road or off-road, or you're going up ramps that allow the vehicle to reach a height of no more than 10 feet, the probability of actually damaging the battery pack is relatively low. Where should you use a hard case LiPo battery pack? Well, you should use one if you're uncomfortable with using a soft case LiPo battery pack, or if you are an absolutely aggressive basher. If you're trying to fly your radio control car over a house and allow it to land on the ground safely, that's probably where you should install a hard case pack to make sure that that battery is going to be okay. Well guys, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like the video. If you do, don't forget to hit that sub button so that I can see you guys on the next video. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next one.